Welcome back to the Pipe and Tobacco Talk podcast. Tim, you know what time it is.
It's time for the Pipe and Tobacco podcast warning. This podcast will expose the listener to offensive, insensitive, off-putting, and otherwise socially unacceptable content known to the state of California to cause cancer. Those pussies. To avoid injury, the sponsors of this podcast suggest you grow a pair.
That away, Tim. Look at us. We're right back at it like we haven't been gone forever. It's
Right.
episode 49. Tim and I had some technical difficulties last week, and mostly they were me because I was not at home. But I'm back in the saddle again. I've been traveling extensively, which we'll talk about here. On today's episode, we're going to talk about some of Tim's just absolutely phenomenal work that he's created in the last couple of 10 days or so that he's posted on Instagram, and I really want to get his insight on that. We'll talk about my travels, and importantly, we're going to talk about the change to Sutliff and Macbarren with STG moving production to Denmark of both of those, and what it's going to do going forward. So that's kind of our show.
A lot of changes.
Today. Yeah. So, and I'll talk about where I've been and some of the cool places I've been, and I have been to the Four Roses Distillery as well as Buffalo Trace, and I'll talk about some of the whiskeys I picked up and some of the tobacco I picked up, and we'll just have a conversation, Tim.
There are benefits to being on the road, huh?
The only downside is that when I was at Buffalo Trace, I could have spent a lot of money, but they won't ship from there.
Yeah.
And I didn't have. I could fit 2 bottles, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But I picked up a bottle at Four Roses, and I picked up a bottle at Buffalo Trace, and we'll kind of, we'll talk about it. But first, I want to get to some of these pipes you've made and the insight, because you posted yesterday that beautiful apple that has the wingay on it and a gorgeous tulip. And these are kind of departures from what you've been doing. So where was the creative spark for this, Tim?
When I went to the Vegas show, I saw a lot of pipes that had this sort of the teardrop mortise, and I was more focused on the mortise, sort of that wide flare, not so much about how the rib, the fin, or whatever you want to call it, gets carried through onto the bowl. So that's, I guess, more or less something that I came up with. Not that it's anything unique. It just seemed to be how it flows and what I like doing. And so this one has got a piece of wengay. It's an exotic wood. It's got like a Bengal tiger type green pattern to it. And and then there's another one that same kind of a thing. I think these are they're opposite. So you can run these flares in opposite directions. So, for example, this one would be probably more of a right-handed smoker, and where this one would be fit maybe more for a left-handy.
Yep.
I like the shape. There was a long time ago, I saw a YouTube interview. It was a Danish maker, and he was smoking a pipe. While he was making a pipe, he was talking to the interviewer, and he was smoking a pipe that had a shape like this. And I just, I really liked it. So anyway, I started monkeying around with that, and using some stabilized material on the mortise. The volcano, kind of making a little bit of a departure from what I used to do, is having a curve to the shank, curve up, and then an opposite curve for the stem, and then using some different stuff. Here's some bone or horn,
Mm-hmm.
bovine horn. What else? Oh, this playing around with the Juma.
Mm-hmm.
So a blowfish. I got this briar blocks. It was part of what was left over from J.D. Cook's materials, and I bought a lot off of Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of them, and so
So,
there wasn't a lot, but there was not a lot in the lot, but I got a lot,
mm-hmm.
and but the grain on these things. So, for example, that tulip that was just acquired earlier in the week, that was out of that, and the grain on it just beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing a lot of smooth pipes. There's one that went up on Instagram today. This is one of those out of one of those blocks. It's an ants, and the grain on it's just the light in here is terrible, so you can't really tell. But
Yeah.
there's a black under contrast dye with a burgundy on top of it, and man, it's just fire. It's nice.
Yeah.
Really like it.
I've been watching the pictures as I've been traveling, and that tulip you made and the one with the wingay, the African wingay, just absolutely fantastic work. And I always like to hear, we haven't had a pipe maker on, well, we haven't really done much of anything. So, and I do have some, 2 new pipes, one from Anthony at Castle Briars and one from Rob at Our Dickey Pipes. And I'll talk about those as we go along through the show. But I was just really, some of the things that you've made have just absolutely caught my eye. That tulip was breathtaking, and I knew that one wasn't going to last long. That was spectacular work.
Yeah, I love that shape. I love making that shape.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much you can do with it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. I don't make many straight pipes. I like making them, but I always seem to gravitate toward bent pipes. And then there was one that I made, finished up this week. Somebody asked for a Christmas calabash with some bamboo,
Mm-hmm.
and so I made this.
Oh,
got
very
some
cool.
mortar on the top there, and some bamboo. And then Craig Herzog is making the rod material, and he's heat treating it, and it comes out harder,
Mm-hmm.
and it cuts really nice, bends nicely. Seems feels pretty good. So with this one, I'm going to make also a black stem.
Mm-hmm.
So if the guy, if he wants it, he'll have 2 stems, a black and this, more of a Christmas type design. So yeah, it's out there in the bunker. Finally, kind of getting back to things. I had a hell of I don't know. There's about a 10-day period where I was trying to finish a dining room table for my son and daughter-in-law, and and then I was in the middle of finishing up a couple of icons that I was carving, and then I had 5 or 6 pipes, like trying to batch pipes, and I think I just had too many plates spinning.
Yeah,
and I was fucking things up. I was breaking stems off, and just like mis-drilling things, and it's like, okay, time out.
Yeah, that's
gotta
and that's
trimming things back and get focused.
Yeah, and I'm so attuned with that because I'm home for a day and a half. Can't get anything done, and then turn around and go back out on the road. So I'm kind of looking forward to Thanksgiving and everything after because my schedule thins out pretty nicely. But it's just been working. Well, I've been to some interesting places.
When you're all the time on the road and you have just that little window of time at home, and then you try to do something, you're cramming and jamming. All you're going to make is a mess.
Yeah. Well, and if I press anything, okay, so I get home Saturday, Friday night, Saturday, press something, it's going to sit in the press until the following Saturday, which I'm not wild about having it in the press for 5 days where I can't because when I'm here, I'll tighten it up every day, and sometimes I'll tighten it up twice a day, and I don't want it to sit untended. So
Yeah.
Is what it is. But
Right.
anyway, so
Well, at some point, will it settle down where you'll be home a little for longer stretches?
I don't know. I've got some shows I'm going to do in December. Some training classes I'm going to do. I know the first 2 weeks of December I'll be out for 4 days. Or I'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, leave Monday, and then come back Thursday night. But for the new year, in fact, we're having part of my trip to Houston this week is we're having a meeting about what's going to go on because our fiscal year, we're going into fourth quarter is January through March for us. And we're going to, okay, what are we going to do in the fourth quarter? And then what are we going to do for 2025? So we'll see what happens. But it's been a scream and chase. So, and I have been to interesting places. I got to go to Charlotte and Raleigh, and got to go to McCraney's, which was a fantastic stop. In fact, I've for the contest, and we'll talk about the contest a little bit, but I picked up 3 blends at McCraney's. I picked up Bird Hunt, and I got these come in 4-ounce boxes, and this box will actually be one of the giveaways for our next contest. And then I picked up Argyle, which is their full English blend. I'm showing you the jar I got of that. And then I got Canyon, which is a Virginia Perique blend. So that was pretty cool.
And what's the Bird Hunt? What is that?
Bird Hunt is Virginia's and Latakia. So it is they're calling it an English blend, but it doesn't have any Orientals in it. So, it's Virginia's and Latakia. It's very smooth. It is a fun smoke, and I really like it. So if you like Virginia's with a little Latakia in it, it is well blended. It is well done, and I like it a lot. The Canyon is eventually I'll do reviews, where I'll talk about tobaccos that I picked up in my travels. I haven't smoked enough of Canyon. I've had 2 bowls, so I really don't want to comment on how I feel about it. And the Argyle, which is the full English, is a very nice English. I've had a couple of bowls of it, and I'll tell you, when you're on the road, it is tough to find a place to smoke a pipe.
I betcha.
Like some of the hotels I've been in, no smoking anywhere on the property, and some of the places you don't really want to leave the property because
you'll get smoked.
Yeah, exactly. I was in Mandeville, Louisiana, and there was this gorgeous park next to the hotel. And I'm like, okay. And I said, is the park? And she goes, the lady at the hotel goes, don't go in the park. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, don't go in the park. I'm like, okay. So I go up to my room. It's like, okay, what's going on? Well, they've only had 17 murders and over 300 robberies so far this year in this park. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. I'm good. I won't go into that park. That sold.
Yeah, but the year ain't over yet.
Yeah, that's right. Those are rookie numbers. We got to bump those numbers up. It's like, well,
man,
what the hell is this? But
it's like Escape from New York.
Yeah. So I was in Charlotte for 3 days and Raleigh. And then the week after that, I got to go to Kentucky. Oh, Lexington might be the most dangerous place in the world for me because that is like deep in the heart. Buffalo Trace is there. Deep in the Bourbon Trail. So I stopped by the Buffalo Trace Distillery, and they said, I was thinking, well, I won't go. And they said, oh, no, you have to go. It's Wednesday, and Wednesday is the only day that they sell Eagle Rare at the shop. They put out like 100 or so bottles, and when they're gone, and that's it. So I picked up a bottle of Eagle Rare, and I brought it home, and my son-in-law and I tried some last weekend, and it doesn't. It's a nice bourbon. It did not crack my top 10. It's a good bourbon. It's reasonably priced. It was only at the distillery, it was only $40 for the bottle, which is not terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably pay $59, $60, something like that in the liquor store, right?
Right. And it's a good bourbon. It's not, like I said, it's not my favorite. But boy, our mutual friend Harrison said you really have to try Four Roses small batch. And Buffalo Trace and Four Roses are about 20 minutes apart. So I hit Buffalo Trace and Four Roses, in the same hour period, and went and picked up a bottle of Four Roses small batch. And my son-in-law and I both decided that Four small batch is, I love Four Roses, just their regular bourbon, but the small batch is definitely a top 5 bourbon. It's absolutely fantastic, just a magnificent creation. So, and then after that, I went to the pipe and tobacco shop I was in Little Rock, Arkansas, because I get to travel all over everywhere. And I did pick up some cool blends. Surprisingly enough, when I was there, they had Penzance.
Okay.
And Margate, and Dunbar. So I picked up a tin of each of them, which was at retail price, which is fine.
That's good. That's all right.
Yeah, I won't pay. I'm not going on 10 bids and getting in a bidding war for the esoteric stuff. When I find it in a shop, I'll pick it up.
Sure.
And I've smoked all 3, and they're both very, very good. And I'll again, once I get a little more time to get a few more bowls in, I'll chat it about a little bit. And then they had Balkan Sobrani, which I really, really like. I think the world of that, and picked up a tin of it, and that has all gone in my collection. So that's kind of my travels. I was in Detroit, and Philadelphia, and Boston, and Portland, Maine, which was interesting. Boston, I had planned on stopping at LJ Peretti, because I've always wanted to try some of their blends. I ended up ordering some of it. I haven't received it yet, but I didn't have room in my suitcase because I had a heavy travel, and my suitcase was at 48 pounds, and you can't go over 50 or they charge a ridiculous fee. So, and my company's like, well, if you started off with 48, how did you get to 56?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
my pistol weighs 8 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it was, the fall colors in Boston were very nice. It's hard for me because I've lived in the South and the Southwest for so long, where streets are very wide. It's very disconcerting to me, especially Boston, because everything is so close together. They're like houses.
Yeah.
There's no front yard. Your front yard is, somebody's making a left turn. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And Boston traffic, I'm sorry, Bostonians that are listening to this, your traffic is god awful. I landed at Logan. My hotel was 28 miles from the airport. It took 2 hours and 15 minutes to go 28 miles.
No.
No.
Well, Boston it's 400 years old,
Well, yeah, we'll give them that.
Easy.
And LJ Peretti's there, so.
Yeah. Hey, I was back to the bourbon discussion. I was with some friends yesterday, and we were sharing some bourbon, and one of the guys had this. It's called Smoke Wagon, and it's from Las Vegas. That's where have you ever had this?
I saw that. Believe it or not, I saw it when I was in Boston, and that's they had they were doing a tasting somewhere in Boston. I just didn't have time. It's one of those things I didn't have time to go to it, but I have heard good things about it. What did you think?
Well, it's a here's a you can see it, but it's a 57 proof.
Okay.
And you'd think that it would be like harsh, like
Fire.
brake parts cleaner. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what they've done to it, but it's for that percentage of alcohol. It's really smooth and delicious. Really good. A lot of really good. The notes are like what I got. Obviously, there's some smoke and a little bit of chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Cherry flavor. That kind of thing. Finishes real nice. So
Mm-hmm.
they have it in the stores around here, and by golly, I'm going to pick me up a bottle. I recommend it. It's one you want to have around, I think.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Louisville airport, again,
Mm-hmm.
as I travel, I like to talk about great airports. I think the Louisville airport has every bourbon they make in Kentucky. You can buy it at the airport. Now, obviously, you're paying airport prices. But I was really blown away. And one of them that I do want to try, because several people said you have to try Buffalo Soldier. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll give that a whirl. But I haven't picked any up yet. But I'll be back up there in a couple of weeks. So,
Okay.
And
there are a lot of good ones out there.
I'll tell you, I really wanted. I've been wanting to do the Bourbon Trail forever. You start at 1 into 64. Like where it starts, and I think it starts at, gosh, I can't even think of the name of the distillery. And then you hit, Woodford Reserve, Buffalo Trace, Four Roses, James R. Beam, just hit them all. And there was one that they had just put up that I had never heard of, Jebediah something. And nobody I talked to in the folks that I talked to when I was in Louisville and Lexington says, I haven't tried it. I've never heard of it. I go, okay, well, there's a distillery right there on 64. Y'all live here, stop in sometime and tell me what you think. Because it's not available. Yeah. I look for it here and it's not available. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So, that's kind of, like I said, I've just, also, Three Head Brewery. I was in Rochester, New York. Three Heads Brewing. I was in Rochester, and we actually did the presentation at the brewery. They invited, they had them in, and I sat around afterwards, and I am not a craft beer guy by any stretch of the imagination. I don't drink enough beer, and when I do drink a beer, it's light beer from Miller, just because it's not my thing. And they had this stout, this Indian stout or something like it. It was absolutely fantastic. I talked to the head brewer there, and he actually gave me the hat, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and it was a really good beer, and Rochester was deep into fall. The colors were spectacular, and by the way, Rochester Airport. As I travel, these smaller international airports, Rochester, Louisville, Will Rogers in Oklahoma, fantastic airports, in, out, no problems, great service while you're there, just really, and then you fly into Detroit and it's like, oh, well, stealing stuff out of my luggage. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. There's the craft beer thing. All right. I have a brother that has a place on up by Cedar Point, Sandusky, on Lake Erie. It's called Marblehead.
Mm-hmm.
And so went over there a few weeks ago. I and my two other brothers, so the four of us, we sat at his place, and I tried to have a beer, but it was one that it exploded when I opened it,
Oh,
and so
always
there was
a good
maybe,
sign.
There's maybe a third of a beer in there. And so I drank that. I got another one, and we got in the boat, and we take off across the harbor, and we're going to Sandusky because they have craft breweries over there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I drank that whole beer, I'd be surprised. you know, probably, and you, I say that, and you're thinking, well, why wouldn't you know whether you drank a whole beer? Well, because by the time we got back on the boat to come back the other way, I had 2 beers, 2 craft beers, and I was blind. I couldn't see. I couldn't walk. I think I got roofied.
Well,
There were these the bar girls. They were like these 300-pounders, you know.
yeah,
And I think they were just looking for some fun. And
yeah.
I didn't have any marks on me or anything. I was like I barely remember the evening, and I had 2 pints, one at one place and one at the other. And I'm telling you what, I was knocked out. But they said that the ABVs were like 7.5 or something. Like bullshit. That had been 13. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what this 57 is on this beer, but it seems like I'm polluted. The problem I have, I went to in the early days of craft brewing, and it was like 2012, 2010, somewhere around in there. And we went to this bar, and it was a craft place in just outside of Nashville, and it was for a corporate event. And I just, they don't have, anything that I'm going to drink. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just try this. And they bring me this beer, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, that's the weirdest fizzing I've ever seen in a beer. You know what I mean? It's like the bubbles don't look right.
Like seltzer water. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm looking at it, and I realize, no, there's stuff in the beer. It's not fizzing. It's like organic. Yeah, it's it's organic material copulating in my beer, and I'm like,
it's throbbing.
And I'm like, and the waitress came by, and I said, I'm not sure about this beer, and she looked at it, and she literally snatched it out of my hands and ran away. And then immediately that beer, there were like those illuminated signs, and they had scratched it off. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I almost had a bowl of, some type of, and I thought,
it was revenge.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, oh, okay, I'll just have a Coke, and I'd like it in a bottle or a can, please. Don't bring me a draft.
I wonder if you'd have made it to the car before you shit your pants if you drank that.
No, that was just a whole bag full of X-Lax.
Man.
And ever since then, I've just kind of been a little jaundiced to craft beers. It's not,
right.
I know that there are a lot of good ones out there.
A pint of snakes, please.
Bring me the Ebola Stout. Let me try that one.
Right.
And I just, I wasn't, when I was in high school and college, I drank a lot of beer, but it was never.
Yeah, it was Budweiser and, Pabst.
Yeah. Stroh's, light beer from Miller, Stroh's, Old Style, Jobel, the fine French beer from Detroit.
Right.
Right. It was
Hams. Hams. Remember Hams?
Yeah. Schmitz,
Tuborg Gold.
Yeah. Jenny Cream Ale, just stuff that's.
Hey, we drank a lot of Jenny Cream Ale.
Oh yeah. And to be honest with you, I had one when I was in New York. It's not, it's still the same. I like it. Yeah, it's not a bad beer. It's,
my dad used to drink POC. It was Pilsner on call. That and red, white, and blue beer.
Oh God. And do you remember the red, white, and blue cans from like the 80s where they had that weird where the can wouldn't sit flat on the ground? The bottom was slightly rounded. It's like, yeah. So it's a hope you pour it out before you drink it all, because nobody should have a full can of that shit.
And then like if you had a night out and you had enough of that, like we used to go down to Ohio State. Friends that were going there, we'd go down and they would sell you buckets of beer. It was a bucket, and then everybody get a glass, and then you had a pitcher, and you dip it down into the bucket to get it out. And it was Old Milwaukee, right?
Oh, Lord.
And the next day, everybody's walking around like You ever seen the monkey house at the zoo where they all have red asses? That's what everybody looked like.
Oh yeah. I don't know what old Milwaukee
Ow,
was made out of, but man, it turned everything
man.
in my intestinal tract to lava. It was just brutal,
Oh,
you know.
jeez.
And uh, and like old style and Budweiser, anything from the Budweiser family and old style. I don't know what's in them. I don't know what the chemical is, what they do.
I think it's battery acid.
What beechwood aging. Yeah, I haven't seen a beechwood
Okay.
tree in years. Yeah,
Right.
so bullshit. It triggers a migraine in me, and
Oh, yeah.
that's I'm not willing to chance it. Michelob. We're drinking upscale. Oh, it's Michelob. Well, it tastes like Budweiser.
Right.
So
Well, they have these things now. It's Michelob Ultra. It's a real skinny can.
oh yeah. Oh
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's like 0 calories, but yet it has alcohol in it. And I'm thinking, what is? I don't know what that could possibly be.
Oh look,
Yeah, just
0
go with
calories.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, Three Heads Brewing in Rochester at a very fine stout. I really liked it. I thought it was good, and I do love Guinness. If I'm at a restaurant and forced to drink, I'll have a Guinness. So
That's a beer that you're out on a hot day and you get done mowing the lawn, sweaty. You just want a nice warm Guinness.
Honey, do we have any of that maple syrup left? Just bring that out for me. That'll be fine. I'll drink that.
Right. We made beer. Here, one more story. We made beer one year, and we had, remember the Dutch beer Grolsch, and it had the porcelain cap
the
on
flop
it.
the flop top on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And we bottled as much of the beer as we could. We made a pilsner, and then we made some sort of dark beer, but they were all like malty beers,
Yeah.
And we put a lot of them in those. We saved up those bottles. We put a lot of them in those bottles. Well, I'll tell you what, man, those things would build up some pressure because they were sealed down tight. And you'd open those things, and poof, like that, and it would just it looked like I don't know, like Drano, like it was coming up out of there. And then when it got done foaming, you had that much beer in the bottom, and a third of it was yeast.
Yeah. I suspect intestinal malfeasance coming.
I know. You drink it and you're chewing it. Just like, should you have to chew beer?
I sure love this granola bar you're putting here. This is awesome.
That's a wheated beer.
Yeah. Anthony from Castle Briars and I had lunch before I left Colorado, and he was talking about his beer making experience. He brewed beer for a while, and I'm like, I had friends in Arizona that did it, and it's like, that sounds like, it's an all day thing. I got to do this, I got to do this. Yeah, I can just drive down to the store and get a 6-pack of light. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
But let's see, where else have I been? And then I was in Houston again last week. So I've got to find a pipe shop in Houston because I always seem to have mountains of time to kill and nothing to do. So if any of you see this podcast, reach out with a good pipe shop in Houston because I haven't found. I'll be truthful. I haven't looked, and none has popped up in my travels around the greater Houston area. So if somebody knows a pipe shop in Houston, give me a holler and post it on Instagram or leave me a message. So
when they say Texas is big, man, oh man, like places like Houston, sprawling, just
it's huge.
Oh my God.
And the traffic, it's Houston, so traffic is terrible. There are two distinctive types of drivers in Houston. I'm qualifying for the Texas 500. That's one group. And then I'm not sure where I'm going, so I'm going to go 40 miles an hour group.
Right. But they're all armed.
To the teeth. Yeah. You're not honking at anybody because...
You just go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. I'm good. I'll just stay here behind it. We'll go 38 miles an hour in the 70-mile-an-hour freeway. Life's good. We're good. Just I'm following GPS.
I'm fine. Yeah.
We're all fine here.
I got all month. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's like I said, it's just a ton of travel and get to see a bunch of different stuff. And I will say this about the Detroit and Philadelphia airport: if you ever just had time to kill, both of them have extensive shopping opportunities at both airports. It was kind of wild. The difference in the different shops, the different wares and goods that were available, it was kind of off the charts for both airports. So,
No kidding.
yeah,
Huh, interesting.
I'm not thrilled with either one of them. And by the way, Boston residents, Logan Airport is god awful. It's just no. But
it'd be something like you show up and they're like, "What's different about you?" I got my dental implants at the airport.
Yeah.
Got a great shop.
Yeah.
No waiting.
Yeah. I will say this about Logan Airport: you can get a Dunkin' Donuts just by turning around. Get off the plane. As I walk off to my gate, there's a Dunkin' Donuts. I walk down to just before you go down to the escalator, there's a Dunkin' Donuts. You go down to pick up baggage claim, there's a Dunkin' Donuts. It's like, how much coffee?
Somebody's got an
in.
in.
Yeah.
Right.
How much coffee and donuts do you all need? Like all of it?
Right.
Because it's wild. So I guess we should talk about Sutliff and Macbarren because we did tease that in the opening before we get to the contest. And
it's a new development.
It is. And I am, so for those of you who know, a lot of my early blends, I did use some Sutliff tobacco, and I still do in some of the blends. And I was going through looking at, okay, if they stop making their blenders, which blends does this affect? And of the like 150 I have on the list, it affects like 45 of them, and dramatically. And I thought, well, I'll get online and I'll order. And of course, the buying frenzy has started. And people are buying stuff up. And, the TS1R, which is probably my favorite of the store-bought Red Virginias, is still available. A 515 RC1 is pretty much sold out everywhere at this point. I think people are just jumping on it because they're afraid it's going to go away. And it doesn't sound like anything's going to go away. They're just moving the manufacturing from the United States for Sutliff and for Macbarren in Germany. They're moving all of it to their Swedish production facility, which I understand the corporate logic behind what they're doing. I get it. They want to centralize production. They want to start taking more of the efficiencies that STG, which is the Scandinavian Tobacco Group, and start to do more things in one facility so they have a little bit more control over production. What I'm afraid of, and they haven't said they're discontinuing anything, but I think that you're going to start to see some of the products disappear or become less available, which may or may not be designed. But the panic buying I'm seeing right now leads me to believe that, are they going to be able to keep up with demand, or are they creating an inflated artificial demand? I really don't know. And I feel terrible for Jeremy at Sutliff because he's just caught in the crossfire of this. He sent out a couple of notes. Hey, you can still order from us. It's just going to be coming from, there. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't. I'm fearful because I hate to see American companies do this. I have a particular fondness for Sutliff tobaccos. I do like some of their blends, and I do use some of their blending ingredients. And I'm sorry to see this happen. They were like one of the oldest continuous manufacturers in the United States, and now they're not going to manufacture it anymore. But
this has got to be though a meaningful market for them, though, right? Wouldn't you think?
I would think so.
And so, to give short shrift to this market doesn't seem like it would be in their best interest to do. You would think that they would, okay, we're gonna gain efficiencies by centralizing all of our production. And with that, we're going to be able to maybe offer more, or keep what we've got and offer more. But to cut it all back, centralize it, and then cut back the offering. I don't know. Unless you can, they think that they can raise prices so much by creating a shortage. Making all their blends unicorns. It doesn't seem like a good long-term strategy, because somebody's going to step in there, I would think.
I would think that someone would step in and fill the void, and I think that you'll see big gains from GLPs and Cornell and Deal specifically. And Cornell and Deal makes the GLPs blends. I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see the market change, and I think you're going to see C&D really pick up a ton of market share, simply because they're here. You don't have the shipping and transportation costs. When you're talking about moving something from the EU to the United States, there's that shipping cost. And
sure,
Sutliff has very reasonably priced offerings, and I think that gets affected. And look, I get the corporate strategy behind it. I understand you're trying to prove efficiencies, and when you're talking about that, one of the first things they look at, okay, what's selling well, what's the volume they're selling at, is this something we need to continue? And I think at some point somebody's feelings are going to get hurt, because something that they love is going to go away, and that's why there's panic buying right now.
Maybe you'll see articles in the news about migrants crossing the borders with suitcases full of tobacco.
I don't think the profit margin is there for them. I think cocaine and fentanyl are still willing, Tim.
True. True.
Just,
yeah.
And that was, and I'm very fearful for Macbarren in its entirety. I am a huge fan of Macbarren. I know that they let Pierre George go, which I can't fathom why you would let what I think is one of the best blenders on the planet, not extend his contract, not hire him. He's created some of my favorite blends, Latakia Flake, Macbarren Navy Blend. I have a ton of Macbarren products sitting in my collection. And I think the world of Pierre George, and I know he's doing some stuff for Sutliff, even though that's, Macbarren was their parent company, but I really don't know how all that's going to fall out. I really don't know where it's going to go, but I am seeing panic buying at this point, because I thought, well, I'll just get a couple of pounds of this and a couple of pounds of that, and just kind of sit on it for a little bit, which is kind of against, I try not to have more than 2 pounds of anything, simply because storage and, having places to put it, but for blending ingredients. But, now what do you do?
When I saw that announcement, I thought, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Another scarce blend.
Yeah, and that's why, I'm not
like esoterica.
Yeah, that's exactly the example I was going to bring up. Is esoterica. While the blends are very good, and the secondary market for it is ridiculous. Do you want to get into that situation? And I don't. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go.
Right.
But I am cautiously optimistic that they won't change anything. But I'm the realist in me realizes that there's going to be changes, and for the pipe community especially. I mean, we're codgers. We like what we like, and we're resistant to change. So don't know where that's going to go.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be better.
Boy, wouldn't that
There's
be nice?
Chance.
There's a chance. And Scandinavian Tobacco Group, STG, does, I believe they make the Peterson products, which I love, Irish Flake and University Flake and some of the other Peterson products. And they make, I think they do Dan Tobacco too. And I love Blue Note for those of you that like aromatics. Blue Note is high on my list, and we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what happens next, but it was disconcerting. To shut down the Macbarren plant in Germany and to shut down Sutliff's production here in the States.
Yeah, you got another American company leaving.
Yeah, basically, and we'll see what happens. So there you go. I did get. I have not purchased many pipes of late. I just haven't been home. I haven't been able to keep track. But Anthony and I were talking before the Vegas Pipe Show, and he made this beautiful poker, which I really liked. It's nice. It's a stacked bowl. It's very light. It's the same quality work that Anthony does, and absolutely love it. And I said, hey, if you don't sell that at the Vegas Pipe Show, go ahead and send it off to Colorado, and I'll take it off your hands. And got it. I smoked a couple of bowls through it. It's another fantastic piece of work from Anthony, and just fantastic craftsmanship. Just really, really like this pipe. And then Rob Dickey, who we had on the show, I had commissioned a pipe for him before I left Colorado. And he had some stuff going on in his life, and I obviously had the move and the new work, and he finally got it to me, and he made this beautiful bent billiard for me, and this really cool gray. You can see it. You can't really. It's not doing it justice here.
Yeah, you can kind of tell a little bit.
It's this swirly, bluish, like a bluish gray color. It's absolutely fantastic pipe, and again, Rob makes good, excellent quality pipes that I love, and part of the artisan community. And
he's put up some photos of pipes recently on Instagram, and he's killing it.
Yeah,
really
and
nice.
He accused me of having pipe acquisition disorder, which is painfully accurate.
How dare he?
Exactly. See when I order another pipe from you, Rob, calling me out like that. Where my wife is actually following me on Instagram now.
Oh, good.
Yay.
Oh, good. All you kids quit sending around pictures of titties and everything,
Yeah.
Oh, doggone it.
Damn it. Stop it. Stop it. But what's really exciting is in the last couple of days, I've had people reach out to me because they're going to start doing their own blends, which I thought was really cool. So Justin and Willie Lee are both deep into, they've gotten shredders, they've got whole leaf tobacco, they're talking about casings and how to do things. Good. And I am happy to help in any way that I can. And, the way to combat, I can't find my new favorite blend is make your own blend. That's how I got started. I got mad at Macbarren because they discontinued Acadian Barrique, and here I am, 4 years later.
God bless you.
God bless America, man. I'm telling you. And there has been a couple of places I've been. There's been stuff in the air, and I don't know what it is. Houston, whatever is in bloom or mold or whatever it is. My nose ran for 3 days when I was
sneezer.
Yeah. Just painful. So let's see what else. We really should talk about our next contest, which we're going to do the weekend of Thanksgiving. So we'll try to record Saturday night. Austin from Pathfinder Pipes and our wonderful sponsor, Mitchell and Sarah from MBSD Pipes, have given us some pipes. Someone that Tim met, and I'll let Tim talk about it, gave us some tobacco to give away. I'm going to give away this 4-ounce box of Bird Hunt from McCraney's, and I'll probably whip up something from my line. And I think what we want you to do is nominate a veteran. tell us the story. Tell us why your veteran is deserving some of the stuff. And Tim, I'll let you talk about the tobacco and the pipes that Austin sent, and I'll get the pipes from
let's start with the pipes. First of all, it's Austin Bordeaux, his Pathfinder pipes. Austin makes some fabulous pipes. Here's a little bent apple, I think. Sandblasted.
That is sharp. Very sharp.
Really nice. This has got a more black than gray, but some gray streaks in it, ebonite. Austin does a fabulous job on his stems. I'm envious. So there's this pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. And let's see. I've got my my handy dandy scale here. It's 1.5 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
Cool little
Very
smoker.
nice.
And then this one, I really like this one.
Wow, look at that. Like a bent apple.
So you got blasting on the bowl, and then the shank, it's cut to a V and it's smooth. Just an all-around nice pipe. And it is magic, 1.5 ounces.
Ooh.
So
nice,
he's making
lightweight,
some really nice,
gorgeous pipes. Well done, Austin.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
And then we still have the Rossi Poker from MBST Pipes, which we'll give away. And this is rusticated, and it's a nice dark color and a black stem. And then we have the Vaughn bent appley kind of. This is old new stock, never been smoked, just another sharp pipe. And we can't say thank you enough to Austin and Mitchell and Sarah for giving us a couple of pipes. And
then I've got a couple of tins of John Cotton's. Here's a Smyrna blend.
Ooh.
And then John Cotton's. It's a English number 1.
Uh-huh.
And a gentleman by the name of Brad Hochter came up to me at the Vegas show and said, "Hey, G, I want to help out. Can I give you something to give away to the veterans?" And I said, "Yeah." So these 2 tins of tobacco, and you can find him at on Instagram. His handle is Hochter, the Love Doctor.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, and he's serious about it too. Serious.
So, excellent.
It's the eye contact. It's the eye contact. That's what
maintaining eye contact through the whole thing.
Right. And
look at me. Look at me.
So, what do you think? You want to? So we got 4 pipes, and we've got 3.
We'll
tins
do.
of tobacco.
I'll put something. Yeah, I'll put together an Emerson Southern Forged blend.
Okay.
For it.
So maybe we can give away 4 prizes.
Well, I'm thinking. My thought process is that we give away the 4 pipes. And again, we'll read the submissions, and we'll both post it on Instagram and get it out. But yeah, you send a submission to a worthy veteran, someone that served our country, because we absolutely have the utmost respect for y'all that did serve the country. And tell us the story. And we'll read the submissions, and we'll cry and say thank you and give away 4 pipes and 4 tins of tobacco. And I don't know. I think we should have 8 winners myself,
Okay. That's good. Good for me. I'm good with that. The more the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely.
So send them in. And even if you've sent them in before, send them again.
Yeah.
We're good.
Resubmit, because there were a whole lot of, if we would have had 20 prizes, I would have given away 20. Because how do you say thank you to a vet? All right, cool. We're going to give you some stuff. That's what we're going to do. So.
Yeah, that's I guess one of the benefits of being away so long is the prizes accumulated.
Yeah, that's right. And we'll have to think of something else too. So we'll figure it out. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to submit a veteran. Someone you love, someone you know, someone who's your friend, send it to us. Write us a little note saying, hey, I'm nominating Bob or Sarah because, they served our country. They did this. They tell the story, and we'll read it on air, and, we'll pick some winners and off we go. And maybe we have Sarah on again. We haven't had a guest in a hot minute because, we rarely know exactly when we're going to.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking
sorry, not tonight. How about tomorrow?
Hold on a second.
All right.
So the other dilemma of being friends with Mitchell and Sarah is they find stuff like this. And my fondness for, ancient tins and just the tobacco stuff I just absolutely love. And they found this Harmony slice cut pipe tobacco tin. I don't know how old it is. There's no manufacturing date. It was 2.5 ounces, taxes paid. The sticker indicates that it was probably, I would probably say the packaging on it puts it in the 40s, sometime after World War II. Not very long, but just fantastic. And I can't say thank you enough to Mitchell and Sarah for thinking of me when they find this stuff. So
yeah, that's really nice. I wonder where people find stuff like that.
He
goes to estate sales and stuff, I think.
I think so. And he gets collections from people. I mean, he's always, it's like having my own crack dealer. Oh, hey, Jim, I got all these pipes,
Hey,
I haven't refinished them or anything. I'll cut you a deal if you buy a box full of them. All right. Twist my arm.
I got a chance to spend some time with Mitchell in Las Vegas. And he's a good guy.
Yeah. Absolutely think the really world of him. So, and they redid their whole shop, and I, shameless plug for MBSD pipes. They actually built a room on their house where they can actually refinish, have room for somebody to come in and just sit and refinish pipes for them and do some of the other stuff. And it's really kind of amazing how far they've come. And, we're just so thankful that they're, sponsors of the show. And when, supply us with pipes to give away, it's kind of cool. So,
yeah, great stuff.
Yeah. There you go. So anyway, other than that, and then of course I got, as you know, my supplier of Cavendish has passed away. So I bought a couple of new Cavendishes and I'm trying them out. And my son and I were talking. He goes, well, you haven't made a blend in a long time, Dad. Why don't you make a blend? I said, okay. So I did. This is called Tenebris Requiem. It is 6 different Cavendishes, a little Kentucky Dark Fired, and bourbon and vanilla topping on it. And it's...
that sounds good.
I had 2 bowls of it yesterday. Yeah, it was pretty good. I got into a conversation with Justin and Willie Lee about blending tobacco, and it's like, Jim, get off your ass and make something. Even if you can't press it, just get in the groove again. Just make something. And, my son was goading me a little bit. And, because to be honest with you, I'm thinking about kind of stopping for a while because I'm just not home. And depending on what the coming year brings, I think as a go forward, if I make something, it's going to be Tim goes to a pipe show and I send him a bunch of blends and that's what I made. And, off it goes because I just can't. I've disappointed so many people because it's like, oh, I really want to try this. Well, I'm just not home to blend it, and I don't. I'd rather not do it than have hard feelings. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to take orders from somebody and say, yeah, you'll get it in 6 months. I don't want to be that guy. So, we'll see. I don't know. Like I said, I knew I was going to travel more. I knew I was going to be but I've been traveling, it's 6 weeks of, leave on Sunday, come home Friday night. So
there's no time to do anything.
No,
you get home. You spend the weekend doing laundry.
Yeah, basically, get up Saturday morning, throw my laundry in. My wife and I do grocery shopping and spend some time together. And, then Sunday off to the airport.
24 hours, you're going to the airport again.
Yeah. Well, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Basically. But I do love the Jacksonville airport, so I'm not going to complain. It's they have taken very good care of me. No complaints at all.
No, good.
Yeah. Other than that,
What
else
airline do you take?
If I'm going to Houston, it's United because it's a direct from Jacksonville to Houston. About everything else, I take Delta.
Okay.
I've had some travel experiences with American. They've lost. So when I was in Arizona, I used to have to travel to California, and we had to go to Vegas all the time. And they lost my luggage 3 times. Twice they lost it and never found it. Just no, we're going to reimburse you for it. Sorry, we don't know where it went. And the other time, I went to Las Vegas and my luggage went to Kansas City, and then my luggage went to Utah, and they finally shipped it back to me at my house. And if you're an American Airlines employee, you hate your job.
Mm-hmm.
I know you hate your job, and you know that you hate your job, and you treat everybody terribly. It's just the worst service of any of the airlines I've flown, outside of perhaps JetBlue, which just lives on TikTok for passengers fighting, and Frontier, which
I can't wait to never take Frontier again, ever. Fuck, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Jay,
But
you know that it's not going to be good when you got a guy on the microphone. Everybody's waiting. They're going to start calling the zones, and the guy grabs the microphone. You can barely make out English through his dialect, and what he's doing is he's giving you a talking to about your behavior before you get on the plane. And I'm thinking, I don't think this is going to be good. Mommy,
Yeah. Yeah. I get the best service from Delta. Period. If I have a problem, if every flight attendant, everybody's pleasant. I haven't seen anyone fight on a plane. My luggage has made it every time, and that's a big deal to me. I want me and my luggage to go to the same place, and Delta has never let me down. United is very good. I will not complain about United, but I won't fly American. Period.
Remember the Samsonite commercial with the gorilla?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah. I had to take an American flight when I went to Charlotte, simply because of the timing. I just couldn't get a Delta flight that got me to Charlotte when I needed to be there. Because there's no direct flight from Jacksonville to Charlotte. So an American goes direct from Jacksonville to Charlotte, and I took American. And, I was treated like, a third-class criminal. Just terrible service, and,
Yep.
It's American. It's what you get.
Yep.
And the Charlotte airport is, for those of you curious, which I have 2 least favorite airports, and it is Charlotte and O'Hare. Charlotte is. Do we have time for me to tell the story?
You could tell it.
All right. So I flew to Charlotte. It was a Sunday afternoon, evening flight. Flight was delayed for 2.5 hours because they had a mechanical problem. So now it's an evening flight. We get to Charlotte. It's a short flight from Jacksonville to Charlotte. They say, okay, your luggage is going to Carousel 5. Okay. So we're standing down there at Carousel 5. 15 minutes goes by, no luggage. 30 minutes goes by, no luggage. An hour goes by, no luggage. And so people are starting to get upset, and rightly so. I wasn't one of them. It's like, I don't have to be anywhere until tomorrow morning. I really don't want to hang out here at the luggage carousel, but here we go. And so our luggage never shows up. After an hour, we kind of all go get in line at the baggage issue. And one of the lady goes, well, your luggage is coming. And this lady at the front of the line goes, no, it's not. And the lady goes, what do you mean? She goes, well, I have an airdrop. I have one of those Apple airdrops on my luggage. And I go, and she holds up the phone to her and goes, here, it's sitting on a truck in this part of the airport. It hasn't moved since it came off the plane. She goes, I've been watching it. That's why I put these on there. And this started a flurry of activity. And, that's the, they started making excuses. I said, look, you suck. We get it. We understand. Just bring us our luggage. So they finally bring our luggage. It was an hour and 20 minutes from the time we left till we got to the carousel till they actually brought our luggage up. And of course, they broke my suitcase. Thank you. I have one of those roller bags, and they cracked one of the wheels. It's like, oh, okay. Well, in addition to being jackasses.
Sounds like a shopping cart at Aldi's.
Yeah, pretty much. Your typical Walmart shopping
square
cart.
wheel.
Wonka, 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 wonka. And, it's just, you suck, American. You're just the worst airline, and I can't stand you. So, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But that was my luggage story, and once again, it's American, you just deal with it. And I had to fly back home, and, my luggage did not get better on the return trip to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You broke the wheel. You want to break two? So I, just make it a useless piece of luggage? No.
Well, we're going to Florida 1st of February 1st and February 15th.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna drive down this year because from Akron, Canton, Cleveland to Sarasota, St. Pete, about the only airline that you can get is either Allegiant, don't want that, Frontier, or JetBlue. I was like, no. I don't want to. Yeah, it's like what it's like. It's like if you're flying and you're traveling 1,700 miles and you can do it in 3 hours. Okay, that's a good thing. That's all that's good about it.
Yeah,
because theoretically you can do it in 3 hours.
Yeah,
it's like being served a nice thick juicy steak on a trash can lid. It's like you got all the advances of modern technology, served in a pigsty.
Do you remember the movie Jewel of the Nile, where the Kathleen Turner's character is on the third world bus? That's what flying Allegiant is like.
Yeah, right. Somebody with a pig, somebody with a chicken. Yeah.
Lady's got 2 goats on a leash. Yeah, that's
right. There's 3 ladies in the back of the plane with a big tub making menudo.
Yeah,
and those are the flight attendants.
Yeah, you're on a third world bus at 40,000 feet. Enjoy the day.
Right.
Yeah, and my wife.
Should there be puke on my seat? Sit down, sir, or I'll call the air marshal. And they beat you up for it.
Yeah. I don't know what this liquid is on my seat, but I have a pretty good idea, and I don't want to know what happened on this flight.
They bring over a black light. And it's like,
no.
We heard a funny noise coming from over here last flight. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So anyway, we're and then I don't know. A couple weeks after that, I'm going to drive down to Tennessee to the Muletown show, which interesting story. And anybody that's watching this, if you're going to the Muletown show, and if you're exhibitor, pipe carvers, and you're going, that they opened that up at 2 p.m. Central on their website, and I was on it at 2 p.m. Central, and it was jammed. And I got my table in, and I got an email from Rich Epley about an hour later, and he said, "Did you get your table? They're all sold out." So it was like a feeding frenzy.
Yeah,
that's got to be one of the most popular shows now. Is the Muletown show.
The great thing is Tennessee is part of my world at this point, and I am working on scheduling a training class where I can get to the Muletown show.
Do it at the brewery across the street from the
Yeah.
Muletown show.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was supposed to be in Vegas. I was scheduled to do a show in Las Vegas, which would have corresponded to the Vegas Pipe Show, and then they needed me to go to someplace else, and I kind of got, I'm not a huge Vegas guy. I don't like the glitz of Vegas. It's not my thing. It's not. I had to go when I was in Arizona. I had to go 3 times a year for trade shows in Vegas, and I just never. It's not
too
me.
much.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's not me.
It's stimulation overload.
Yeah. And Muletown. I really, as you're watching the Muletown show, I really think that that's going to be one of the premier shows as a go forward. I've heard a lot of great things about the Texas Pipe Show. That's really becoming a great pipe show as well. But the Muletown is just building a fantastic name, and the guys that are doing the show are doing a great job with it. So well done, fellas.
They do. It's a good time.
Well done. We have not had any Ask Us Anything questions, but we do have some comments from the last show, and some of them are rather amusing. So, ready?
All right. I am.
David Furlano, 8977. Yes, a new episode. I've been listening to reruns every night before bed. Glad to see you chaps back at it. Well, thank you, David. Fred Isney. This is Fred. Great to have you back in the saddle. Great to see Tim and met a lot of new people. All right. Highland Farion. Missed you guys. Great to have you back. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Azalea Piper. Good to see you two rascals on the tube again. Great show. Thank you. Willie Lee, the Simple Georgian. Very glad to hear you two again. I've definitely missed the weekly chats. I totally understand about work. Sorry to hear about your moving fiasco again. Jay Furman is awesome with his recommendations. I hate that I missed the Vegas show. I may have to miss the Dallas show as well. Hopefully I'll be in the circuit next year. Looking forward to the next video. Safe travels. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it'd be nice to meet Willie Lee.
It would. I chat with him fairly regularly. He's in 2 chat groups that I'm in. He and I have individual correspondence. He's just, again, another one of the great people in the pipe community. Is there a better community than the pipe community?
Nah, I don't think you find one.
I was at the Pipe and Tobacco Shop in Little Rock, which is a fantastic shop, and I sat down. And I just sat at a table by myself. I took a couple of pictures and was, checking some emails. And one of the guys walks up to me and goes, are you having a problem or are you just antisocial? And I looked up and said, I'm antisocial. And they invited me to come over, sat down with them, and chatted with, there were 4 people at the table, and 2 of them were having cigars, and me and the fellow that came up to me were having pipes, and had a nice hour-long discussion about pipes. And where else in the world is somebody just going to invite you to come over and sit with them? It's the pipe community. Right. It's always a pipe community.
Yeah, I agree.
Yusuf Syed, if we get him an award for the nicest guy in the pipe community, it's going to be Yusuf.
Yeah, it's got to be him. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Good morning. Awesome show. Thanks for sharing. Have a great day, and greetings from South Africa. All right. Terry Brewster, our longtime friend and former guest on the show. We'll have to have him back on sometime when we need to be drunk on the air, because I think we need to do that sometime soon. Just after I finally get over the withdrawals of no podcast every week and start a 12-step program for Pipe and Tobacco Talk podcast, I spend time in Vegas with Tim and see this show on my feed. Pop that vein up. I'm back all in, you bastards. Seriously, welcome back. You've been missed. Hope your schedule calms down, Jim. Tim, probably see you at Muletown. Welcome back. There you go.
Yep.
Our buddy Riley. As much as I fly, I've never had anyone stop me from mason jars full of tobacco or even tins of it. Well, welcome to my world. I have traveled 3 times with mason jars now. I have been stopped all 3 times. What have you got in there, sir? Well, it says pipe tobacco on the top. Is it really pipe tobacco? Well, it's Florida. Weed isn't legal here, so yeah, I'm thinking it's pipe tobacco. Uh, 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 Mike from Pipe and Tamper. Tim's mic isn't working. His audio is coming through whatever device he's using for video. Thank you, Mike. I think we've got it figured out.
Thanks,
now.
Mike.
And that's it. Those are the comments from our last episode. So thank you. As always, we do read the comments from our episodes on the show. And if you need to ask us a question or want to find out about something that we're doing, please ask away. We're happy to help.
Didn't spend a lot of time with Mike Murphy at the Vegas show. We just kind of walked in and out of one another's circle.
No.
And I enjoy him because he's always, you can always count on him to give you a nice dose of shit.
Well, yeah.
In a funny way. Yeah, he's a good guy.
I absolutely, I really, I did a podcast with Mike and Iris, and I absolutely loved it. That sort of weird podcast. I thought we had excellent chemistry, and it's a hoot to talk to Mike. Yeah, and he will give you a ration of shit. And I think we need more people in our life like that. Somebody to call us out on bullshit.
Well, yeah, and you can give it back, and you don't have to worry about you're going to bruise his feelings.
Yeah,
yeah, he's a good guy.
Yep. So, anyway, other than that, that's this week I'll be in Houston. So when this posts, if you know of a good, I'll be in the Century City portion of Houston this week. So if you know of a good tobacco shop that I need to check out, holler at me. And we'll get Ben, our producer, to get this put up fairly quickly. How is Ben doing? You finally got to talk to him. I haven't talked to him in forever.
Yeah, he was here last weekend, and he's doing good. He has a car that doesn't have a hole in the roof.
Always a plus in Ohio in winter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, he's doing good.
Oh, good.
But he and I went to church, and he showed up dressed like Ben would dress, if you can imagine.
And remember, kids, to get a light for Ben's closet to help him in his troubling times.
Just like even one of those the stick-on LEDs that you poke it with your finger and it comes on, just so he can light up his closet and he can tell the difference between black or blue or brown.
Yeah, And just so that you know, Ben, here's what goes with plaids. Nothing. Nothing goes with plaids.
Everything. Everything.
Yeah.
Okay, cable knit sweater, tweed jacket, corduroy pants in July.
You know, Ben, when I put on my plaid shirt, the first thing I think of is let's put on a striped pair of pants because I want to cause vertigo in everyone I come across.
I like the strobe. Yeah. That day at that thing, he showed up with all that clothing on. I was like, I'll bet you Gold Bond loves you. You know?
Because you've got to be chapped in about half a dozen places.
Yep.
Classic. Ben, our producer. And we really, I've started a thing where every place I go, I try to pick up a hat. So I've got a University of Arkansas hat. I've got a University of Oklahoma hat. I've got, a Three Heads Brewery hat. I'll just kind of pick up a hat. And while I was gone this last trip, my wife goes, "Hey, you got a hat holder here. What are you doing with that?" "I'm collecting hats." She goes, "Jesus, Jim, could you just stop collecting stuff?" No.
Now, what's it like a hat holder? Is it like a pegboard, like a board with pegs that?
So it's a rack, and there's a clip for the top of the door and the clip for the bottom of the door, and you tighten it up.
I follow you. Yeah.
And it's got all these spaces where you just hang the hats on them,
like you would see in the store.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So, it holds 40 hats, and, I just keep collecting hats.
40 hats.
And
you bought 3 of them, so I can hang up half my hats.
Yeah.
You got to go with this slow.
Yeah. And I do wear baseball hats a lot when I'm off work. And, when you're traveling a lot, it's always nice to have a hat in your bag. You throw it in. You don't have to worry about, when you've got those 12, 13-hour days and your day's finishing up on an airplane, you kind of just want to man, I don't want to worry about my hair and put a hat on in life.
Like me, you still got a lot. This is getting thin. I was out in the rain the other day, and the raindrops hit me. They used to build up in the hair. Now they don't. They go straight through onto the scalp and run into my face, into my eyes. It's like a fucking waterfall. It's like this rubbing my eyes.
Yeah, and because we both wear glasses, that makes it extra special too.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. The very first raindrop starts here and ends up in my eye.
Yeah, because that's how it works. So, yep. And I am wearing my Four Roses hat that I picked up while I was there. So,
nice.
I was a little disappointed. Buffalo Trace, the hats they had, I have to have a little deeper hat because they don't, because I still have hair. And I keep it a little longer on the top. And all their hats were those real shallow brimmed hats. And
they don't really get down.
Yeah, and those are the kind that just pop off my head, and I was like, it's so disappointing. And the ones they had that had the thicker brim. Now, I live in Florida. It's it was 75 today. It's perfect. The really heavy hats, where it's material all the way around.
Right.
No.
Too hot.
Those just become sweat ringed.
Yeah.
So,
I still the hat that I have. This is my favorite everyday hat. I've got two of them now, and one's my good one, and then one's got paint on it, and it's starting to it's really grimy on the inside, from sweat and everything. Is my Ohio Briar Dan? It's the green with the I don't know, it's like a tan, the webbing on the back.
Yeah,
perfect fit, great hat. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I want that hat, and I've got to hit him up for another one here soon.
Yeah, I tried to talk him into coming on the show, but he doesn't, seem like he wanted to do that.
He doesn't like to do that.
Yeah. So
I don't know what he's afraid of. Maybe he's wanted.
Could be.
That's probably what it is. Well, we do have
if that is your real name.
Right. Well, he shaved off his goatee and beard, or mustache and goatee.
Did he really?
But he grew it back because I think he was getting recognized.
Yeah. I trimmed off the sides. About 2 weeks ago, I had a trimming mishap, and Myra said, "I like it." So, all right. People. A guy stopped me when so we had a sound crew because we had 200 people at the show on Friday. And we had a sound crew, and one of the young kids was there who was, trying to grow a beard. And, when you're in your early 20s, your beard looks like, early stage cancer.
A coyote in June. Yeah.
Exactly. He goes, "Have you always had a beard?" I said, "Yeah, since," and I've had one for a long time. I could grow one in high school, but that was frowned on back in the early 80s. And he goes, "How long have you had a beard?" I said, "Well, let's see. I don't know, 40 years now, I think I've had a beard." And, I said, the reason I have a beard, it hides the scars of a misspent youth. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You tell him, that thing you think is a mustache? Yeah. You put a little cream on that and let the kitten lick it off. Take the hair right off.
Yeah. It would be like if Ben tried to grow a beard,
He's growing.
Is he really?
He looks a little like Gomez Adams because it's only dark on the edges. And he's got it, it's kind of starting to curl it. It's pretty funny.
Classic, it's got, it's a patch here and a patch here. And
look like a burn victim.
Yeah. It's like a map. It's like a map of the Pacific. Here's an island, and here's an island.
Richard Pryor. He's freebasing cocaine, and it blew up. Now he's got patches all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's coming though. He waters it regularly and puts raccoon shit on it, try to get it to grow.
Yeah, you know. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us for episode 49. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Mitchell and Sarah at MBSD Pipes. Tim, any final last words?
No, thanks to Austin and Brad Hochter for the gifts, and yeah, we'll do a nice Veterans Day giveaway. Belated, but you know what? It gets the job done.
That's right. And we'll post it this week. We'll get it up and, submit your veteran who's you think deserves a pipe from Pipe and Tobacco Talk. So,
yep. All right, man. Good seeing you.
Good to see you.
All right, pal.
All right.
Later.
All right.